Hi, this presentation is on note and rest values, basic note and rest values that we'll be talking about in this course. So we're going to start here with a whole note, and the whole note is 4 beats of sound, and we also can have a whole rest, which would fall on one of the lines of the staff, and it hangs below it. Sometimes people, in order to remember that, they'll think of it as it sort of looks like a little hole, like a bunny's going to jump out of there, and because it hangs below the line. And of course, you'd have the whole staff around that. So if you have a whole note, if this is your beat, the note's going to go like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, off. So that's how long it would take. It would last for 4 beats. If it were a rest, it would be 4 beats of silence. So the next note we're going to talk about is a half note, and this is 2 beats. And the half rest looks a lot like the whole rest, which is why we have to kind of be able to have little tricky ways to distinguish them. The half rest, though, is going to sit on top of a line. So sometimes people will say it kind of looks like a hat. Now remember, the whole 5 lines of the staff is around this. And so because it sticks up like that, people say hat rest, half rest, kind of makes them remember that. So that's going to be 2 beats. So if we have a steady beat going on, 2, 3, 4, here's our steady beat. Half, half, 1, 2. 1, 2. That's going to be how long the note's going to last. Next, we can have a quarter note, and that's going to equal 1 beat. And that kind of looks sort of like that as a rest. And the easiest way to think about how long a quarter note lasts is to think about keeping the steady beat of your favorite song. So if you just turn on the radio and you tap your foot to the beat of the song, you're going to be tapping your foot most likely to the quarter note. And so if we're tapping, every beat is going to be 1. So then the next note that we'll talk about, we can have an 8th note, and the 8th note can look like this, or if we can have more than 1 8th note together. And so if we have more than 1 8th note together, it would look like this. So 1 8th note is going to be a half of a beat. And then the 8th rest looks like this. So if you have, now remember, this is a half beat and this is a half beat. Each one of those is a half beat. I'm not saying that whole thing as a unit is a half beat. So if you're keeping track of the steady beat, and you have as a steady beat 8th, 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 8th. So you're going to have 2 for every steady beat. Now moving on to the next note value, we have 16th notes, and they have 2 little flags on them. You can combine them together with the beam, and when you do that, usually we'll put 4 of them together. 4 of them is going to comprise 1 beat total, because each one of these is a quarter of a beat. So if you have 4 quarters, then you have $1. If you have 4 16th notes, then you have a whole beat. And our rest value, it's going to look like this. It's going to have like a little extra part on it there. And so if you have a steady beat, we're going to have 4 16th notes in each steady beat. 1E and a 2E and a 1E and a 2E and a pop 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 pop. That's going to be the 16th note. So all of those rest values, they correspond, because of course music isn't just sound. We also have rests that go on in our music. Now I want to show you just a couple other things that happen. We also can have dotted notes. So if we have this note, which we know is a half note, and we add a dot next to it, that's going to be a dotted half note. And we can also have a dotted half rest, so it would look like this, and it would have a little dot next to it. That's going to get a special amount of beats. So what you do to figure out any kind of a dotted note, you can dot any note. So if you dot a note, what you do is you take the original note value, which we know half notes get 2 beats, so that's 2 beats, plus half of that original note value. So this means plus 1/2. So half of a half note, 2 beats, if you want to know what is half of 2, that is 1. So that tells us that a dotted half note is going to get 3 beats. Same thing for dotted half rest. It would get 3 beats of silence. You can have the same thing if you have a dotted quarter note. You can figure it out the same way. And we can have the rest as well with a little dot by it. And if we have that, we know that the quarter note by itself, that's 1 beat, plus what is half of 1? It's 1/2. So then the total unit is going to get 1.5 beats. We can do the same thing with a whole note. We can dot a whole note. So we just call it a dotted whole note, or if it's a rest, we have it hanging down here, we could dot that as well. And if we do that, we're going to have 4 beats plus half of 4 beats. So 4 divided by 2, if you passed your math classes ever, you know that's a 2. So that means this is going to get a total of 6 beats. So let's practice a few of them. If you have, let's say this note, tell me how many beats it gets. It's called a quarter note. It's 1 beat. How about this? What's it called, and how many beats does it get? It's a 16th rest, and it gets a quarter of a beat of silence. How about this? What's it called, and how many beats does it get? It's a quarter rest, and it gets 1 beat of silence. How about this? What's it called? How many beats does it get? Dotted half note gets 3 beats. And let's try, how about this note? What's it called, and how many beats does it get? Sixteenth note gets a quarter of a beat. And let's try one more. What's it called, and how many beats does it get? It's an 8th note, and it gets half of a beat. So I hope that's been helpful to you. We're going to build on this in the next part of the next section of our class here, but this is just the introductory part, note and rest values. Thank you for watching.